Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello. I would say welcome, but
they're
thank
still
you
welcome.
I guess you're welcome. Yeah. Welcome to episode 129 of Flesh and Pod. I'm Logan. That's Darick. We're just going to skip over the whole what we did in Flesh and Blood thing. And not only because I won an armory on Prism, but because there are much more important things to be talking about today and within the community. Yeah, so this is probably the hardest episode we'll ever record. At least I guess I hope it is the hardest thing that we ever record. Let's put it that way. Over the weekend at the premiere in Tokyo for Part the Mistveil, there were I guess, how do I even put this? Flake, Matt DeMarco, and I will also say that, you know, the others in the broadcast, you know, Elliot Tan as well, both made some comments towards Yui, who was a female broadcaster in the booth, that were wildly inappropriate. The comments were, I'm not going to speak for what Yui's mind state was, but from the comments themselves, and it's hard to find them now because it's been thoroughly scrubbed, so I don't fault you if you've not heard them or whatnot, but I am also not going to like go over exactly what was said, but they were clearly over the line, and it created a feeling on the broadcast for the people watching that the female member of the broadcast team was being denigrated, was being objectified, would be the word I would use. This was called out publicly, as it should be. At no point in time are we saying it shouldn't have been. And from there, the situation snowballed a bit. Flake was removed from the broadcast, and there was a on-broadcast apology from James White to the community, acknowledging that what was said was inappropriate. He was replaced by Matt Rogers. Elliot Tan stayed in the booth. And from there were a variety of comments that were made throughout the community publicly that cast a different light on the situation as a potential pattern of behavior. I shouldn't even say potential, as a pattern of behavior. No, not potential. And so from there, there's been a lot of just community discussion. We have individually talked to a lot of different people at this point to try to understand all of it. And yeah, we're in a unique position because over the course of time, Matt has appeared on this show 6, 7, 8 times, whatever it is. And we have always, you know, he's always been a welcome sight for us. Somebody that we spend a lot of time with. So as you can imagine, this is jarring. And first things first, at no point in time are we in a spot where we're not going to believe what people tell us from a victim's or impacted person's perspective at all. We do believe you, and we are behind you 100%. That should go without saying, but it feels like it needs to be said. So where are we now is kind of the next spot where are we now? There's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to heal. There's a lot of, I guess, pieces to this that we're still finding out. And it's troubling every time that we hear a new thing or anything else. Darick, I'm going to turn it over to you for a second. I feel like I'm just in a rambling mess at the moment. So I'm going to drink this Bud Light, which is just a punishment beer because I don't feel like I want to talk about this at all. But we have to. Like, there's no way that we can't talk about this, and there's no way we can't approach this from our perspective. What do you have?
I have this wonderful Cider Boys Melon Mojito.
Yeah, that sounds way better than what I'm drinking.
Not a punishment drink.
That's a non-punishment drink.
I don't know, consumption of alcohol probably kills our YouTube thing or whatever, but
we're going to do it anyway.
We're going to do it anyway. To say that this is incredibly difficult for me is a bit of an understatement, just because, I'm one of the people who's probably known Flake the longest, going well before Flesh and Blood, from back when we, both played Gwent. I played for a short period. We were, in contact through other various digital card games, even before he had Guion Bar. I never actually met Flake in person until Flesh and Blood. So I had known him, I guess you would describe as like I had known him digitally for like 4 or 5 years first. But that was the first time I met him, just because, again, like he had contracted his illness, and then we had the pandemic, so it wasn't exactly like meetups were in the cards. So like, obviously I have a lengthy history with him. I mean, he's met my family, my kids call him Uncle Flake. Like, this is definitely not, an easy thing to discuss for me, but like, at the end of the day, one, our show has always kind of intended to be a place that meant to be less formal, right? Our show is always meant to be less formal because we know that there's a number of things that do news very well, even though we talk about the news, but there are things that do like up-to-the-date news very well. There are, other shows that do interviews very well. There are certainly YouTube channels and so forth from much better players than us that will cover like the ins and outs. I feel like our niche has always been exactly this, right? As I hold up my drink, it's supposed to be, people who love the game, but, we're just sitting around drinking and talking about the game that we love. But part of that feel, right? Cultivating that environment is also, in my opinion, predicated on making sure that people feel safe and comfortable at all times. And I will say that, I know that I tend to say some out-of-pocket shit sometimes on our show, and that's in part because I have a very professional day job. I am very buttoned down. I literally I have for like the last 15 years deal with stuff that if it was released to the public, it would be a felony for me, right? Like, I have to take that very seriously. And so I think that's part of the reason this show appeals to me, because when I come here, I can unwind, have, some enjoyment from my hobbies. But also, again, part of that is making sure that we have a safe, inclusive space, right? And it is very difficult because, I firmly believe that a line was crossed here. I guess I should provide some context to provide folks, I guess, with like a bit of context about like where my headspace is. I guess I should also be upfront about some facts, right? Because I don't pretend to know everything. In fact, I know very little, but I've been trying to catch up. I say I know very little because this weekend I was traveling. I was on vacation with my family. We went to Chicago. We had a good time. We actually visited the Min-Max game store on Saturday, and I took my oldest son to a, unfortunately, non-Flesh and Blood event. It was a Star Wars event, but they had a store showdown. Side note, I won. Going in and stealing a victory. But the point is like, it was a good weekend. My son's birthday, as we record this, is tomorrow. Mine is coming up on Saturday. And so it was kind of like a pre-celebration for our entire family. So when I woke up on Saturday, I had had a bunch of notifications on my phone, right? So the first one that I opened was in a Discord, and somebody had, messaged Flake directly, but it was for everybody to see, just to kind of, at the time, try to provide some support, but I had no context for what, right? It was just like I think the exact phrasing was like, keep your head up, Flake, or whatever, right? So without knowing anything, I was just like, hey, somebody's picking on my my brother, right? So I was like, who do we need to fight? And again, I don't even know anything at this point. The reply I got was, all of Twitter, I think we're outnumbered. And I literally replied with, all right, I'm on vacation with a family. I don't have time for this shit. I'll deal with it later. And then I closed Discord, right? I was like, I don't want to deal with it. So then I briefly opened up Twitter, and I had a couple of DMs from people. All the stuff that's been either said or shared to me will always be like in confidence. Again, I know how to keep a secret. It's my day job. So, but I had DMs from people, some people concerned about Flake, some people on the other end of the spectrum. Obviously, some folks wanted to know my opinion on things, and I didn't even know what had happened yet, right? So by then, I was like, all right, well, clearly something happened. So I'm going to do the speed scroll, right? So I'm like going like through my feed on my thumb, like pretty fast, but just trying to see like if I see a name or a face that I recognize from the Flesh and Blood community for context. I see like maybe 2 or 3, and I quickly piece together that some inappropriate things had been said on the broadcast. I don't know what. At this point, clips were already taken down and scrubbed, so I couldn't like watch anything. I still to this point in time have not actually seen anything myself. I want to be very transparent about everything that I'm speaking to and what I know and what I don't know. I don't know what was actually said. I haven't seen it. But like, so I very quickly had pieced together, something happened, and that Flake had been removed from the broadcast. But that's, again, like, I don't know whatever. So at that point, I messaged Flake, hey, I don't know what happened, but people are messaging me. I just said, are you okay? He replied, no, man, I'm not. At this point in time, again, it was still Saturday morning. I was in a diner in Chicago, having breakfast with the family. And so I just said, hey, do you want to talk? I'm just at a diner. I can step outside. He said, no, we can talk later. And so I said, okay, or I think I said a heart emoji, like, okay, or, whatever. And then because I'm concerned at that point, because obviously I know something's happened, and I know he's halfway across the world. This is the one time I will, not in confidence thing, because it's an action I took, but I reached out and I messaged DM Armada, right, Steven, because I know that he also knows Flake, and I just said, hey, I'm busy with family right now, and honestly, you probably have more context than I do anyway, because I don't know what's going on. But I just know that I messaged Flake. He says he's not okay. Is there any way that you could check in on him? And he said, yeah, he would reach out. And then a few minutes later or whatever, he said, we spoke briefly, and he seems to be like okay for an hour or whatever. And that was the extent of that conversation. But I just, I wanted somebody to check on him because he's halfway across the world. And, if something bad happens and you lose your support structure or whatever, I don't wish anything bad on people like that. So like, I wanted to make sure he was okay. So once DM had confirmed that, at least somebody had spoken to him, I felt a lot better. And at that point, I just kind of went lights out for the internet. I was like, this is antithetical to what I want for my family weekend, right? It's not that it's not serious or whatever, but it's just like at that point in time, I needed to prioritize, like I need to be present with my family, and I can't let other stuff impact their weekend. And so like we went to the event, I had a lot of fun, Stark had a lot of fun, we went and did things. Saturday night when I got back to the hotel, I very briefly scrolled through Twitter again just to see if there was any updates, and at that point I honestly wasn't seeing anything new. It might have just been like where my feed was in time, I don't know, but like I didn't gain any additional context. So I kind of registered it as all right, maybe it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought. I'm not seeing anything, so I went to bed. Sunday, again, day at the zoo. I know that I was messaging you. At one point, my phone even died because I was taking a ton of video and stuff. I was at Shed Aquarium with the family, wonderful place. We went to Navy Pier. It was just a good time. And then I drive home. But since I started my journey home, because like I wanted additional context at that point, and now, I'm wrapping up my weekend, I just reached out to, people I know in the community so that I could have people catch me up, because like, obviously I don't know what's going on. So I've spoken to a lot of people, pretty much feel like I have the gist of at least what happened on the broadcast. And it does sound like, like I said, lines were crossed. It's the sort of thing where, if those things were said in the office in my day job, at a minimum, it would land you in HR, like, if not
Probably
fired on the
fired.
spot.
Yeah.
And that's just in an office building, not like on a live broadcast. Right. So I get it. Don't blame LSS there one bit. Feel like, if anything, like, just as an aside, I feel really bad for LSS. I feel really bad for James White specifically, because I heard that he came on and apologized, as you said, and that he ended the broadcast. And I know that this event meant a lot to them, because it's like their premier event in a debut market, and that this was obviously not how they envisioned kicking things off. My understanding is that they did their best to make the most of it and whatever, but my heart goes out to them too, because there's the real thing here is there's like ripple effects to all of this, right? Like, there's the immediate people impacted, but then there's everybody else, right? So obviously, Flake is impacted, Yui is impacted as like the person who was on the receiving end of comments, but then there's the ripples, right? There's LSS, all of those people, of their hard work. There's the people who organized the event and the broadcast, and then it ripples out further. And then this is the other part too, which is, I've talked to quite a few people, so I've heard everything from maybe Yui felt uncomfortable to no, she didn't, because it was an inside joke. At the end of the day, like, personally, I don't think it matters one way or the other, because when you say something on the air, if it's in that sort of a setting, it's the entire audience, right? Like,
yeah,
you're doing the broadcast for the audience. So like an inside joke would not like be, in my mind, an acceptable excuse, because it doesn't matter. Like, the 2 people might be fine, but 10,000 people might not be fine with it. Right.
Yeah. Like,
that's just the nature of like doing content and putting it out there. And this was very clearly something that, upsets a lot of people and triggers feelings of, not being safe or not being heard or being marginalized, and all of those things that, for the most part, our Flesh and Blood community, if I'm being honest, I think we do a really good job of trying to ensure that people are heard. And so I think that's also one of the most jarring parts about this for me personally, is that, I'm having a hard time reconciling, like, I'm just having a hard time reconciling, the ramifications of something like this from, from like a representative, right? So like, when you're
Sure.
there is a responsibility you have when you're on a broadcast, whether you work for LSS or not, or if you're just like, even when it comes down to, low guy in the totem pole, aka me, who like just does community casting, right? I still understand, that when I'm on a broadcast, though, I am pseudo a representative of LSS and everything that Flesh and Blood stands for.
I wouldn't
right?
say pseudo. I think you just are.
Well, I mean, you could argue, like, plausible deniability. LSS could be like, hey, we didn't hire this guy, I'm just blah blah blah, right? But like, at the end of the day, like, I take that responsibility of like,
sure,
I would want to make sure, I think that, or I would want to do my best that I feel like people were included or feeling safe, and I think now is a good opportunity to just say, like, look, I don't want to make this about me or Logan, but if at any point in time, one, if at any point in time you feel like we have made you feel unsafe or crossed the line,
tell us.
And if you don't want to tell the person who did it, like if I say something and it does not vibe with you,
tell me.
Tell Logan, or tell somebody else, but just like speak out. But I would like to think that that we can handle it. There's definitely been cases, in the past, our good friend Elaine, on more than one occasion, like we've made a friendly banter joke with her about things that she said, because we love her and she says goofy things, and then she came to us and said, hey, like, I understand that you're not like being hurtful or whatever, but like, could you just stop joking about X, Y, or Z? And we were like, absolutely, thank you for telling us. And then we shut the fuck up,
more or less,
right? So I don't know, like one of the bits that was like kind of like concerning to me from a self-reflection standpoint is just that we're hearing a number of people say that they either felt objectified or unsafe over a period of time, and nobody's ever said that to me, right? And so like I do have to kind of take that stock of like, okay, is that because they don't feel safe with me? Is it because of my proximity? What is it? But I don't want that to be the case, because we do want to be there for everybody. And I know that it's so hard, because like I said, I don't really want to go into specifics, and I definitely am not going to say like who said what, but I've now had conversations with some folks who said like, yeah, somebody came up to me and said, just be careful around Flaky, has a reputation, right? But like, again, nobody's ever said that to me. So I'm at a loss, because like I feel like we, like, and when I say we, I mean like me and Logan, personal responsibility here, and this is something I'm not going to be speaking for Logan. He said this before we started recording, but I think that we just feel like we need to do better. Both Logan and I arrived at the like we feel like we have failed folks if they feel like they couldn't come to us. So we need to do better, but like we also, just part of that needs to make sure that people can approach us regardless of who it is. Like I don't I don't care if it's Logan or whatever. Like I love you, Logan, but like also
anybody.
Yeah, like if you're fucking up, like somebody needs to be safe enough to come talk to me, right? Like that's just it. It's no different. And I mean, this is the reality of it, right? Like it's no different from when I worked at the police department. It's no different from when I was a professor for a local university, right? Like I understand the importance of like being a role of a mandatory reporter. I understand the importance of being somebody that people can come to in confidence, and I don't know, I just feel, I can't help but feel like there was a mark missed here. But ultimately, like where I am personally at now is, as of recording this, I still haven't verbally spoken with Flake. It's been very brief exchanges. I very much wanted to speak to him before recording this. I'm hoping that I can speak to him before more like stuff is recorded with my other projects later in the week, because I mean, there's just like, the reality is there's just some very difficult conversations that need to be had, and they're not going to be fun. But like, this is somebody that I loved like a brother. And so, part of being a family is also like holding your family members accountable. And, I'm not going to put any cart before the horse or anything at this point in time, but like I haven't talked to my own physical brother in 5 years, right? Like, because he continues to fuck up and make poor choices. So I just need to, I don't know. I first I need to just say that, the space needs to be a safe and inclusive one. And what that looks like is people who are making large groups of other people feel unsafe are likely just not allowed there. Like
we can't welcome that in. We 100% can't.
And even so, I'll also say, like, I'm a very firm believer in redemption, second chances, even third or fourth. Like, I think that people need to be given opportunities to learn from their mistakes. I know I've shared this with Logan, and if you followed me from other games, you might know, but when I first gained any sort of notoriety for content at all, I was covering the Elder Scrolls Legends. I was doing a podcast named Fun and Interactive at the time. And it was
great name, by the way.
Yeah, it was great because people always complained that certain things were not fun and interactive, and so we were like, all right, well, we'll make a podcast that is then. But when I was on that, my co-host was a gentleman by the name of Justin Larson, and Justin is at his core, he is a good person who cares about other people and wants to see them do better, right? Justin also is an ex-heroin addict who did time in prison, and then when he got out, he put in the work to improve himself. He went back to school. He went to therapy. Then he became a therapist. He currently works outside of Seattle. He helps inmates and ex-cons reintegrate into society. He does a bunch of really important work, and that's all in part because of second chances. I think that when you take away people's ability to redeem themselves, you kind of de-incentivize ever seeking improvement, right? Like, it becomes well, if I can't ever feel like some semblance of a human being again, then what's the point of trying? So that being said, I also want to be very clear that just because I believe in second chances, it does not mean that it needs to come at the discomfort of those impacted.
It should never.
It is just that, that is not something that is owed, right? So if people have been impacted, they don't then need to shoulder the burden of somebody else's redemption. And so I don't know the terms of LSS's parting ways with him at this point in time or not, right? Again, I haven't spoken to him, and I'm certainly not gonna email LSS and poke and prod a fresh wound. That's not high on my list of things I want to do. So I don't know, but I just know that from a community standpoint, the thing that needs to happen first and foremost is that people need to feel like they can, be safe and appreciated and welcomed properly within the community. That has always been our stance. If there was ever a put your money where your mouth is moment, this is it, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks. Wish it wasn't that way, but that's the reality.
No,
and I'm not willing to be a hypocrite that dies on that hill here. No. So that's now I'm the one who's long and rambly, obviously.
It's
but
fine,
it's like I said, it's difficult because it does require a lot of context. Because like I said, I feel like I know enough, and I feel like I don't know enough, and I feel like I definitely would still love to talk to Matt because I feel like I owe that to him, right? And I don't know, it's also just very difficult because because I wanted to know more. So obviously with everything going on, normally with something like this, I would prefer to immediately make some sort of statement or post to support those impacted, right? If it was a different situation, I would have probably fired something off by now, right? But this one is unique for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't see what happened. I still haven't seen what happened technically. I don't feel like I have a good enough understanding there. But also, I was on vacation with the family, and so I wasn't committing what I felt like would have been the proper mental energy to get it right, because it's not just about crafting a statement of support, right? I don't want to do bland virtue signaling. I want to make sure that it's something sincere and heartfelt. But when you know, I'm not mentally there, then I don't want to half-ass it either. Like, I feel like that does a disservice. And so, you know, I hadn't posted anything for that reason. And if I'm being honest, I still don't know that or feel like I know enough to say something coherent, hence all of the rambling, right?
Yeah.
But I do, like, it's like you said, right? Like, we, you know, we need to, you know, believe people when they speak out. Like, that is a very important thing to stand by. And so that, you know, isn't a message that I want to be lost, but like I said, I just didn't really want to half-ass it. And like I said, part of me feels like I know enough, part of me feels like I don't know enough. And I didn't want, even as I'm speaking now, I still don't know that this is all correct or even makes sense. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think that the part and parcel of any of this is anybody that meets us knows that who we are in this space is not a bit. We're not playing a persona. The person that is in front of the microphone that you are listening to every week is the person that you're going to get on an event floor. It's the person you're going to get out at a restaurant. It's the person you're going to get walking from a hotel. It's the same person. We specifically are invested in being as real as possible with who we are on this show. And this is the time that we are being challenged to say, who are we? And I think it's pretty simple. We're the people that are going to say, I don't fucking care who you are. If you are making people uncomfortable and unsafe in an environment, we are more than willing, and the accountability has to be there. And if it has to come from us, fuck it. It has to come from us. And that's all there is to it. We have to be those people because that's who we are. It isn't we can pick and choose. It isn't, you know, well, this person's my friend, so maybe we can just pump the brakes on the accountability a little bit and give them some more room. No, that's not it. It's exactly that everybody has to be held to a standard where we create a space that is safe for everybody. And there's been a lot of good statements, or there have been a lot of statements that resonated pretty heavily from various people. Elaine put one out on Twitter that was very good. One of the things that, I'm not going to read the whole thing because you should go on and just read it yourself, but one of the things she says on here is, it's important to listen before you speak and let those who are impacted be the guiding voice in how to handle these sensitive issues. That isn't our hallmark, but for fuck's sake, that's what we have to do. We have to, we are definitely not the Listen Before You Speak podcast. We are the Fire from the Hip podcast. And usually, but this is one of those situations where we have to take a step back and we have to listen and we have to understand where we can be better. And I don't just mean Darick and I mean as a community, because right now I know that I am not going to put how I feel. I am not going to project that on anybody else, because my feelings on this, a lot of people might be like, you hurt for your friend, you hurt for, you know, the people impacted. All these things are true. I mean, but one, Flake made his bed, and he has to confront this. He has to take this as an experience, you know, as something to learn and grow from, or choose not to. I sincerely hope he chooses to, because this is a moment where the only person that owes Flake redemption is himself. That's it. And I want to support him, but he has to choose to get better. He has to choose to make the necessary steps and put in the work to understand why this was bad, why this was wrong. And, you know, I haven't talked to him either. and I've wanted to. It's having the words, me not having words, right? But having the words in these cases is fucking difficult. And it's not like you want. I hear about this, and so I immediately reach out to people that I'm like, hey, what? And then every time, and I fucking hate this, and not hate on anybody else, but how this just hits me is every time I reach out to somebody, it just gets worse. And at some point, it's not that it gets worse of like, oh, there's more of this or more of that or anything else. It's understanding how fucking hard I feel like I have failed. It's not about me at all. But if you don't feel like you can come to me, I need to do better. I need to be somebody that anybody in this community that feels unsafe can come to and know that they are going to be listened to, they're going to be protected, and they are going to be believed. And that's what I want to provide. That's what I want to be for people.
Shit, I'll go a step further too. Because like it's not lost on me as well that you know, depending on who you are, and you know, whether or not your experience even allows you to feel comfortable talking to men, like that could be a barrier, right? So I will go a step further and say, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody and you don't feel comfortable even talking to me, you can still approach me and just be like, hey, can I talk to Sophie? And I will 100% give you my wife's phone number. And she, like, I know her, like she will hear you out. She will support you. If you want to speak to a woman and not me, like, that's not going to hurt my feelings.
I'll get you to somebody. Yeah.
But I will get you to somebody that you can talk to.
Yeah, 100%. And these are the times where your principles are challenged. And our principle is exactly what it needs, is exactly the same as it was a week ago. Nothing has changed in that regard. The principle is we do not accept when people are being made to feel unsafe or in danger or anything else in this community. It isn't stood for. And it needs to be out of the community. And if that is Matt DeMarco never works for LSS again, okay. Fine. If it's he's not welcome at events again, okay. If that's what it has to be, fine. Like, no notes. That's just it. There has to be that layer and level of accountability. Otherwise, what kind of fucking community are we? I mean, there are, and I hate the fact that there are corollaries in other card games as well of this type of thing happening. And I mean, the ball was fumbled several times in all of these, and I don't want to be part of the community that does that. I want to be part of the community that says, okay, it doesn't matter who you are, the standard is the same. And the standard is we don't fucking do that. And I don't have a better way to put it. I really hope that if anybody has anything that they need to talk about, yes, my DMs are open. Just say something and I will be there. I will listen. And if you don't want to talk to me, again, Charmer hit it on the head. I will find you somebody that you feel comfortable talking to. If you need me to do something, okay, that's fine. I am here to support. I am here to listen, and I am here to make sure that to the best of my ability that this type of behavior is not accepted in our community. That's it. That's my spot. And it sucks that it's somebody that I held in high, like, I keep saying past tense and I don't even know. Like, it's so fucking hard that I don't even know what the right thing to say is in that regard. But the fact is that Matt's been a friend for years at this point. And I try to go back in my memory and I try to think, is there any time where I just look past this? And I can't really think of one. But that also could have been me with blinders on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so that's just it. Like, it could be blinders, but also, you know, whether it's Matt or whether it's anybody else, you know, one thing that I will at least try to share, for, you know, potentially our woman or our non-binary listeners who may or may not like understand, you know, it's very easy for men, and keep in mind I'm about to be speaking with some broad strokes, but it's very easy for men to spend a lot of time together and not really talk about a lot. And it's very easy for men to spend a lot of time together and not like be in situations where that would ever like raise red flags for us, because, you know, like, you know, I'm not going out on dates with my friends, right? Like, you know, I'm a married dude with 2 kids. I'm not you know, I don't after every event go back to whoever I'm sharing the hotel with and be like, hey, you know, did you harass any women today? Oh yeah, how, you know, like it's not a thing.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm not saying this to like absolve us of responsibility, but what I am trying to paint the picture of is that you might think that like, hey, you know, his friends have to know, but they probably don't.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just speaking broadly when I say he, like whoever it is, if you've been hurt by, you know, a man or a woman or whoever, right. If you have been, you know, targeted or harassed or, you know, made to feel unsafe or, you know, actually assaulted or whatever, it can be very easy to look at the people that are ever in somebody's circle and think that like they know. And I'm here to tell you that it's probably the exact opposite. I would say the vast majority of the time nobody knows. You know, not to get too heavy, but like there's a reason that sexual assault statistics are so high, and that the vast majority of them are with people that are known to the victim. And it's because people do things to exploit existing relationships, and they do it under people's nose, and they do it, I'm not going to say in plain sight, right? Like they do it in private, but like not. And so the people around, you know, unless you like share a home with somebody or whatever, the people around very often, at least in my experience, just don't know. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to say this like as an absolution of any stretch. It's just a, you know, there's a lot of people that I consider myself, you know, friends with. There's a lot of people that I know, and I would, you know, if you ask, I'd be like, yeah, that's a good dude, or, you know, yeah, I love her, she's awesome. And then the reality is, I have no idea, like on that level. I just always try to see the best in everybody, and, you know, trust until I'm given reasons not to trust or whatever. And so, yeah, like you got to, I mean, you don't got, see, this is always the hard part for me. I'm doing too much rambling and thinking out loud here, but like, let me just say, like, this is always hard because I hate that we have to put the onus on victims. I hate that we have to say, like, you have to tell us, but also I don't know how to know without that. Right. So maybe this is my opening to other people to say, like, hey, if you know of ways that we can do better of knowing without somebody telling us, I am all ears. I would love to learn, because I hate saying, like, you've got to tell us when something's wrong, because that puts the onus on
right.
the victims.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad about that. Right. But I also don't want to say, like, you know, don't, like, I don't know, it's difficult. So like, I'm open. If you're listening and you know, like, I would love to learn.
Yeah, the easiest things are always the most complicated. And the easiest thing here is to support the people that need supported. But it's the most complicated thing to do, because you're literally making them reach out. This may be... This may actually surprise people. I don't know. But when in my professional life, which is definitely not me here. Well, that's actually not true either. I'm pretty much the same fucking person there too. Which is shocking, because I work in a very professional environment. But I am well regarded for my emotional intelligence. I usually can pick up when something's wrong. And the fact that I fucking missed it somehow, it's eating me alive. And yeah, I'm not in every room. Like, so maybe it's not something that I should put on me, but it's hard not to. And at the same time, you hit the nail on the head. We're expecting people who are traumatized to relay their trauma in order for us to help them through it. Like, that's so ass backwards, but how else are we supposed to know? But if there is a way for us to know, please tell us, please. And then we're still asking people to tell us something. Yeah. I mean, maybe like I need to go back and start taking more courses on this because I just don't. Like, I don't know.
That's why I was like, I'm rambling and thinking out loud here, but like that, just like the irony of that is not lost on me. The
complication isn't lost on me. It's very easy to understand, and like understanding and executing are not the same. And we can understand all day long, but executing to make this a better space is where the work is. And we all have to be willing to put in that work. Because if we're not, we're no better than any other community that we've been, looking at and with our noses in the air and saying we're better than them. Which is something that the Flesh and Blood community does. And
well, that's because we're better than them.
About to say, I was actually going to finish the sentence with, it's because we're better than them. But in all honesty, this is a reminder. I think that Kiki actually said it best. I think I have their statement up here. The events that took place at the commentary booth was a stark reminder that despite all the progress that has occurred in the trading card game community, we still have a long way to go. To say I'm disappointed is an understatement. They go on later. We need to stomp this behavior out where we can. We need to support those who are coming forward with their experiences. We need everyone to look at their own behaviors honestly and make changes. For all those who have been affected, my heart is with you. And for our community, we need to do better. And they nailed it.
Well, yeah, it's Kiki, so.
Well, yeah, obviously it's Kiki. Like, if this is one of those times where there are the guideposts of this community. There are the people that have the perspective. And I would put Kiki on that list. I would put Elaine on that list. I'd put Mara on that list. There are just so many people that have experience over time with a lot of variety of things and are well thought, eloquent, well spoken, that can sum things up much better than we can in some instances. And that is, in a nutshell, perfect. It's well said. It's well thought out and it's well informed. And I think it's something we all need to take to heart. We have now been talking about this for 48 minutes, and I think that the end of this is pretty easy. You know where to find us. If you have anything, if you agree, if you disagree, if you need to talk through it, if there's something here that hit you wrong or anything else, please reach out. We're not in here to be performative. This isn't for accolades. This isn't for anything other than, I would have loved fucking nothing else than this is selfish. And this is 100% not who we are because we're not fucking cowards. But I would have loved nothing else than to have just not talked about this. It would have nagged at me. It would have gnawed at the back of my brain. I would have felt like the worst version of myself. But the selfish part of me didn't want to, because it sucks to. It's painful. Like, there have been a few times, and I've seen Darick with it too, where it's, you know, you hit emotional moments. Like this is one where it's hard not to let the emotion show. But we're doing our fucking best. And we were asked, you know, several times by people we care about, where we're at. And I don't think that answer has changed in the last 36 hours. We're at the same spot. And that spot feels like we're stuck. But we're not stuck on who we are. We're not stuck on our principles. We're not stuck on any of that. Where we're stuck is, what is the path forward? What is the best we can do for this community and for the people involved? And that's where we're stuck.
And I'll be honest, I don't know when that feeling will go away. Because it's going to be really hard to have a good barometer for success in that regard, right?
Right.
And I think that's perhaps, you know, one of the more frustrating and overwhelming feelings about all of this is that I don't, at least for myself anyway, I don't see myself like feeling unstuck until months from now, if I'm being fully honest, right? Because, you know, the next couple events I go to, it'll be something on my mind, right? Like, you know, how are the, you know, how are the people feeling interacting with me? How are the people at the event feeling overall? You know, what's even, you know, the tone, the atmosphere like, you know, what's, you know, what do relationships, you know, look like in the future? And then like, you know, that'll be something that happens at one event, and then it'll be the next event, and then, you know, local events and here and there. Like, I just don't, you know, knowing where you stand, but then knowing, as you said, right, like the path forward and how to ensure that, you know, we're being better are not necessarily one and the same. And I think that's the frustrating part, because you can't rush it, right?
No, you can't.
Like, I would love to just be like, first of all, like you said, I would love to have just ignored it, but you're right. Like, we're not cowards. And it was definitely a newsworthy event. So we're going to talk about it. But also just like, you know, the other selfish side is I would love to just say like, hey, we talked about it, and then, you know, not do the work, right? Just pretend like nothing happened. But that is not doing the community a service either. As much as I would love that personally, that would be incredibly selfish and you know, short-sighted and insincere. So I mean, it sucks, but that's where we're at.
I guess the nice the good parts of being me are that at no point in time, even now, I won't let this impact how I view the good people in our community. I won't do that. It will not, unless somebody tells me my behavior needs to change. I still want to treat people the way that I believe that they should be treated. And that's, you know, in the same jovial, friendly, you know, ribbing, sarcastic sort of way that I always do things. I am who I am. I'm going to still do the same I'm going to go to fucking bar trivia in Minneapolis on Friday night at the Brit before Nationals. Well, during Nationals, I should say, with a group of people, and they're all going to be Flesh and Blood players. It's going to be mixed company, and I am not going to think about anything other than everybody should be having a good time here. And I just hope that in that quest of trying to make people's lives, trying to make anything I am involved with better than when I found it, is enough. And if it's not, I want to do more. I don't have much else.
So,
don't you dare.
All right, fine.
I don't want to laugh. God damn it. Fine. We'll do it. So if you didn't
wanted to congratulate
yeah, if you didn't know, there was also an event in Tokyo. Kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
But there was a calling and a premiere and a battle hardened in Tokyo over the weekend. It actually, if you know what, I'm not going to make that joke. It's a good joke. It's a solid joke. I'm making that joke. You may not know it from YouTube, but there was actually a first day of coverage. But yes, we had a calling in Tokyo. It was won by OO, which is still my top 3 names in Flesh and Blood, right next to Pudding Tam.
It is such a great name. When I saw it, all I kept thinking of is I hope that he ends up on a team sponsored by some store, and they do the jersey style, and his number is 00. Right? He needs to be 00.
So good,
right?
Yeah.
It just writes itself.
It does.
Also, beat Michael Fang. Let me also just say, yes, it was an event in Tokyo, but wouldn't you know it, there's a Michael Fang and a Brody Spurlock sighting.
Why wouldn't there be?
They're everywhere. What a run.
I mean, they are. I think they actually possess a teleporter, and I don't think they fly on airplanes. They're no danger of getting Boeinged one way or the other. There are multiple ways you can get Boeinged. But
right. But it's not even that. When I say what a run, it's just they're just not at every event, but they're in the top 8s of every event.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd when you consider how rare in the TCG space something like this is.
Right.
It just blows, and obviously, we know that they're great players. They definitely put in the work. But it just blows my mind that it just keeps happening.
We can't keep letting them get away with this, and yet we keep letting them get away with this.
Yeah.
But so congratulations there. Also in the Battle Hardened, all events were limited. Was won by Florian Christian Laughlin. So congratulations there. 2 very stacked top 8s, either way you look at it. The format looks really fun. Everything that I saw looked really interactive, super engaging. I saw big turns out of all 3 decks. The types of things that just kind of make you go, oh shit. So it's not like one of them felt super overtuned to the others as far as limited goes, which is probably good. We, in draft even, because the top 8s of these were drafts, the spread still looked pretty decent. And the games were engaging. It seems like a lot of the takes online were that, it's a high ceiling, low floor, a mid ceiling with a mid floor, and just a mid with some pop off spread of decks, which is exactly what you want, I think. Mm-hmm. And again, it would not shock. I haven't touched the set yet. I will this coming weekend at pre-releases, which pre-release weekend is coming too. But I won't. I haven't touched it yet, and I won't until then. But it's looking like they hit another home run. They just hit another banger, which to the shock of no one at this point, because they have kind of been on a little bit of a heater. Between, there were some misses. Bright Lights Limited was actually fun, but the set was kind of not. But Outsiders was a blast as far as limited went. Heavy Hitters was gas.
Mm-hmm.
I love Heavy Hitters Limited, and it looks like they got another one here. That's coming. It feels good. It's the part that I'm worried about is still the same, which is classic constructed. But everything adapts, right?
Yeah. So, the thing that I'm most concerned about, and the good news is it's not on every card. It's very specific ones. If you look on the bottom where it says Illusionist, that's the problem. So if they can just clean that up, I would greatly appreciate it.
Listen, I won an armory on Prism. This is a thing that happens. And as I'm doing that, I'm playing against people that know what they're doing, people that are playing that are good at their decks. The last one was Dagon White on Dory, on Hatchet Dory. real person, real deck, still won. And I'm just like, fuck this deck. This is stupid and shouldn't exist. And by saying that, I know I'm going to get a YouTube dislike. I know I'm getting a thumbs down because it happened again last week when we shit on Prism and shit on Illusionist. There was the dislike again. So it's got, like, that is the through line.
Well, yeah, because one, I think that some people, take us too seriously on that. That we're legitimately asking for it to be deleted instead of just understanding that we know that people enjoy the class. We know that it's probably good for the game overall. We know that they're not going to delete it, like all of those things, right?
Yeah, please take the first 50-ish minutes of this episode seriously, and then take the other 128 not.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, I like to say that we shit on Illusionist the same way that, like, sports fans shit on a rival team. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if, you know, the rival team is, you know, the Tom Brady-led Patriots or whatever, and we know that they're good. You still shit on them because they're the Patriots and you don't like them, right? So yeah, but I do think that there are probably some people that are like, oh, God, they won't let it go. These people, all they ever do is complain about Illusionists. I was like, well, yeah, because they're cops. So,
I mean,
or maybe that's it. Maybe
the reason.
Maybe
it's a cop.
One dislike is, one Mr. Sheriff Prism or something.
Maybe. That's a good question.
Like, imagine if your name was like, you know, Kenneth Prism, and you were a local county sheriff.
Okay.
But you also enjoyed Flesh and Blood.
Okay. If your name is Kenneth Prism and you listen to this show, please DM us and let us know. Oh,
we're going to, at a minimum, somebody's going to make a Twitter account called Kenneth Prism and tweet at us.
Also acceptable, because that's just funny. If you commit to the bit.
Commit to the bit.
That's all I need you to do. Commit to the bit. But yeah, like, I feel bad, again, going back to like the previous discussion. I do feel bad for the players because obviously what otherwise looked like a great event was overshadowed, although they looked like they had to play the finals of the Battle Hardened, or the last two rounds of the Battle Hardened, in a hotel room because the venue kicked them out. But that'll happen. Which is weird because Brody wasn't in the Battle Hardened top 8, right?
I don't think he was. I thought he was just in the
how the hell did that go late? But point being, like, I do feel bad for the players and everybody that was involved that kind of had their, you know, had the spotlight taken off them a bit. That sucks. But yes, congratulations to OO and Floor and Christian Laughlin as the big winners in the weekend. Also huge congrats to everybody that had a good performance. I know that, you know, Brody, Michael, Mo Bogsley, close friend of the show, good dude, and many others were involved in the top 8s. Those are the ones that come up that whatever are stuck in my head. You know, I could probably just pull this up, but I am exhausted at this point. And my show notes are shit. Like, that's just the way it is. But I really wish I would have been there just because it looked like a ton of fun and some really cool shit is in the offing. You know, the Japanese Mask of Momentum looks awesome. Like, big fan. Like it. I liked the way the Marvels looked. The Fable being another playable location is fun, but this is all stuff that, you know, well, I guess we really won't have an opportunity to talk about it next week either. But how do you, like, let's take just that one, right? How do you feel about the Fabled in this set, the location?
I actually kind of like this one, and it's for a couple of reasons. It looks, to me, it looks better than it is.
Stuff's just falling in my office. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. It looks better than it is, but I also, like, if I'm being entirely transparent, I really like it because it's a very efficient way to just get rid of library for the Mystic. heroes, right? They're just
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm
that's
going to
fair.
play this, and then
It's
I'm gonna...
a one resource, get rid of library.
Yeah, one resource, get rid of library, and make some chi, right? Like,
Yeah, sounds great.
but the reason that I say this looks better than it is because it is... It's one of those things where, like, okay, so like it looks like it's going to stick around for forever.
Kinda.
But not though, right? Because so maybe I'm just misunderstanding it, right? So I read this as at the beginning of each end phase, destroy this unless you've pitched, played, or defended with a blue card this turn. Okay.
Correct.
But if you have pitched, played, or defended with a blue card this turn, then you transcend.
No, it's if you've pitched, played, and defended with a blue card this turn, transcend.
Okay.
If you've done any of those singular things,
Okay.
sticks around.
So that was my misunderstanding.
Yep.
I missed the and mentally I had said it was an or. Because in my mind it was like, okay, it's an instant. I can play it. I get the -1 or whatever for the turn. And then it basically...
Not the turn,
it's a
for the first attack.
Well, yeah, for the first attack. But in my head, it was only ever sticking around for one turn because of the
Sure.
or, right? Because
Yeah,
it was either
that's-
going to be destroyed or be transcended. But if it's all
That's been
three,
a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and again, it was just reading the card explains the card, but I didn't fully read it.
But it's also a blue card. Remember that too. It does have a pitch value.
It doesn't until it transcends.
Thought it did on its
No,
front
I'm
side.
looking right at it. It does not, because I pulled it up to read it just now. So
Well, that's, interesting.
yeah, it has a pitch value.
Oh,
when
it's a pitch
turns-
value. Yeah.
like when it
Or
goes
pitch cost, and then it turns into, yeah.
into the chi. So it's legendary. There's already a bunch of legendaries that then transcend and have similar effects. It's just this one sticks around. But again, it's also a landmark. So for the same way that this kills library, other people can potentially run landmarks and just get rid of this before they meet the conditions. I would almost personally like to see more like this, because I also then feel like the more landmarks you print that are playable, the less oppressive some of them feel as when they stick around for multiple turns, because you'll have opportunities to overwrite them, right? Like we're in this weird space where, arguably, mind you, there's 2 playable landmarks, right? This and library.
Right.
Right? I mean, I know the other ones are you can play them, but
Technically playable.
Yeah. So it feels, I think, worse than it could be, 2 years from now, let's say.
Yeah. Good hypothetical.
The art is gorgeous.
The art
It would make a great playmat.
I think that is a playmat, actually. But
Also, I would like to say, with the rules update article that was released, and they were talking about the equipment zones because of the flipped over cloaked mechanic, right? I kept thinking about how you're all like zone, why would you
zones are important.
why would you ever want a mat that doesn't? And
No zones is pointless. Fuck that.
So I was just chuckling.
All zones all the
came
time.
out.
Like, absolutely. Zones are beyond necessary. Like, how are you supposed to know if you don't have zones? That's all I'm going to say. I am spent. And I think it's time we get out of here.
Too bad. We have to talk about the realm, and we have 2 fantastic questions, and I'm not going to let you out of it.
Okay, then you're doing the realm read. Fuck it.
Sure. The realm is back at it, is what the show note says. But the reality is they never stopped being at it.
Don't read it.
They never stopped being at it. There's the 5K Brawl coming in July. It's going to be Saturday, July 20th in Princeton, New Jersey. We're going to keep talking about it till it rolls around. The classic constructed event, $60 early bird entry. Says on here through April 15th, though.
Yeah, that's gone. That's dead.
Yeah, that's dead. So
$70.
It's just $70 now. Sorry, you missed it. Unless you can travel back in time.
Or if you like pay attention to this space, there might be a giveaway here. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Top 8 gets a invite to the 50K. That's going to be at the end of the year. With first place getting the VIP invite as well. If I remember right, VIP invites are transferable.
They're transferable year to year.
Like, yeah. So, like, literally VIP invite type thing. It's going to be a good time. You should be there. I'm going to be there.
I don't know if I'll be there yet or not. I haven't figured that part out yet.
You know, I know we've mentioned it in the past, but it'll be a great one to potentially stretch your legs and get some practice in before Amsterdam, right? So, like, if you're somebody who's going to be going to Pro Tour Amsterdam, it would be awesome to just go to a 5K there on the East Coast and then fly to Amsterdam for the Pro Tour.
Yeah, it being right before Gen Con is rough, but...
Yeah. But... That's an Amsterdam problem. They scheduled that right before Gen Con. That's not...
that's not a realm problem. It's an Amsterdam
That's not a realm problem.
But
that's an Amsterdam problem.
God, I love it. I am hyped for Gen Con.
I am very hyped for Gen Con.
Because I actually got a True Dungeon run for the group of us that have been discussing it. And so I'm just psyched that, like, I get to see 5 people that have never been in True Dungeon before get to do True Dungeon for the first time.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that you are not going to take Stark with you.
Why the fuck would I let... Absolutely not.
Because
the hardest of passes.
That would make me so happy.
Because Jordan and I are in that run together.
I know.
And no, absolutely not.
Jordan loves Stark.
I'm sure he does.
He thinks that Stark is basically him when he was that age.
That's the problem.
And he thinks it's so funny. In fact, I texted Jordan this weekend something that Stark had said because I knew Jordan would appreciate it. Stark said to Monroe, because Monroe had taken his shoes off and I guess his feet stunk or something. I don't know. They were in the back part of the car, so I didn't know. But he said, do you want to give me pneumonia type 3 and have me go to the hospital because of your stinky ass feet? And, like, I couldn't even be mad that he cursed. I couldn't even be mad that he cursed because I was like, dude, pneumonia type 3 is so funny.
So good. That's such a burn. That's not even a real fucking thing. And it's like, look at you with your pneumonia type 3, bitch. Like, that's just like, that's pretty S tier.
Yeah. So I texted Jordan like immediately because I knew you'd appreciate it.
Man, I don't need, because I think you're doing Italian with us though, right? I
will be going to that place one way or the other while I am there at Gen Con. But I don't know what my exact schedule is yet because I have reached out to my contact at FFG because they are doing events there. Mm-hmm. And I know that on Friday night, for example, they're going to do some sort of creator thing, but I don't know what time and how long to like anticipate that. So I'm waiting for more details to know like what my responsibilities are.
The restaurant is, for those that are the uninitiated, is called Iozo's.
Yes.
In Indianapolis, just off downtown. If you get a chance, it is spectacular.
It was so good the first time we went that I've just said every time I go to Indianapolis, I will eat there at least once. Yeah. And so far I have maintained that commitment.
Correct. And it was, so last year we had, I went twice last year at Gen Con. I did one night with Abby and Jordan, with Ridge from Alpha Clash, and Josh Horton from Alpha Clash, my buddy Steve and myself, and Mo Bogsley, and phenomenal. And then I did the next night with that little motherfucker Stark and big motherfucker Darick, because they were both being like tandem assholes to me. Which is exactly how Darick drew it up, I'm pretty sure.
No, he does it all on his own. In fact, I would dare say that Stark is more intense than me. I will tell you, one of the funniest experiences I've ever had is, now that I'm taking him to the Star Wars events, right? Mm-hmm. And he made me proud. He said this weekend he wants me to start teaching him Flesh and Blood.
Oh, dear.
So he's ready to potentially make that leap. And I was trying to explain to him, like, I have no problem with teaching you. I just need you to know that this is a far more like skill testing game. And I was trying to explain to him that like you have to memorize your deck in certain circumstances and whatever. But anyway, at one of the Star Wars events, he was playing against there's another gentleman, and he brings his kid, and the kids were playing against each other, and we were just like laughing at them because it was nothing but the most heinous shit talking that you can imagine from two middle
like two
schoolers.
Fortniters. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, still appropriate, but just like it was like an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like with the back and forth, like drama, and
Sure.
I was digging it. So he's a bit more intense than me.
All right. Well, we're going to get these two listener questions in because you have decided that's where they belong. And we'll probably have a slew of them next week. We have a guest next week. In theory, I still need to get some confirmation. But if we do, it'll wind up being Josh Scott from LSS.
I was going to say, we got to get a ruling on that.
We need a ruling on that. But he has, and this is what struck me, he has obtained clearance to come on the show, which tells you exactly where we have wound up in the hierarchy of things because people need permission. But
yeah.
but the first question for this week, but do submit questions for Josh, by the way, is from Zaris. He said, with the reveals of Blaze, Firemind, and Enigma New Moon as Blitz exclusive heroes, we'll get to that. Do you think this is LSS attempting to draw more attention to Blitz? Do you think Blitz at some point having a completely separate roster of heroes from CNC and having a meta of its own that lives alongside CNC? Personally, I see this as a good thing. I really like the short form games that Blitz offers and would love more opportunities to play it besides on the kitchen table. Okay, cool. So, one, Enigma New Moon, that is Blitz exclusive. I don't think Blaze Firemind is. I think Blaze Firemind is a young version of an adult hero that's in the fall set.
Possibly. The only reason that I am second guessing that was my first instinct, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I feel like it would have just been like Blaze potentially. Like,
potentially.
That was what was throwing me, but the reality is we know it's a promo that is going to be available at events, and the one that was shown is like a full art thing. So yes, it's entirely possible that they could still re-release this in a future set, and that this is just like the full art rainbow foil, event exclusive version, right? Like that could very well be a thing. So I agree with you, but I would also like to pause and say it's not just Blitz exclusive. Though I also want to say I love Blitz, and I absolutely would love to see more support for it, and I love that they're printing heroes just for that format. However, Ultimate Pit Fight is a thing.
That is a thing.
And those are traditionally done with young heroes. And at some point, trademark soon, if we ever get any form of PvE, I would really wager that it's going to be played with young heroes. If not exclusively, you at least start with them, and then there might be some form of like upgrading or leveling or whatever, but it would make full sense for it to always be like the young heroes for the PvE. So I don't think it's just Blitz, but obviously like that's the focus. Yeah.
Also, we can't keep letting Ezra get away with this. Like,
oh yeah, with the Blaze.
This art is bullshit good. Like, this is fucking great. And I don't, no notes. It's just perfect.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna wait and say what I was about to say, just because it's actually kind of relevant to our second question. So,
okay. No,
second question.
No, like we're still in the first one a little bit. I don't think Blitz having separate rosters is completely necessary, but because like Blitz already has its own meta. Like the Blitz meta does not mirror the CC meta. They are not the same. So I don't think that you need to really have that much delineation, like having Blitz only mechanics, I should say. As your plethora of heroes. I think having young and adult for each hero in a set is still the correct thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can do that.
That's fine. So the next question is from Greg. Greg says, what's the deal with the Blanche art? I've never thought a Fab card looked more AI than this card, and maybe take cover. Additionally, I love Mark Poole, so it makes me sad. I have several thoughts. First, the deal with the Blanche art is that it is horrifically wrong because it looks nothing like Blanche from the Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, yeah. It does not hit the nail.
And that's a problem. Also, I actually like the Blanche art, and I think it looks really good. I think that part of the reason it looks AI is because of the lighting, because there's like this almost kind of like weird glow because of the way the sky is. But I actually really like this, and I would argue that the problem is not necessarily with this piece of art, but rather with the way the AI has been trained and the way the AI is stealing the works of folks like Mark Poole and then recreating stuff that looks like this but worse. Because I actually like this piece. And also, like, those fingers look way too good, and that is something I wanted to mention, because I actually had a thought when I saw both Blaze and when I saw the amazing mask that Iswardi did.
Oh yeah,
I had a thought where I was like, this is almost too good. Let me look at the fingers. Right? Like,
come off of it.
Is this really AI? He can't keep getting away with it, right? Like,
we have actual sketched pieces of art from him,
right? Like, I have seen him do it in person. Like, I have seen him do amazing work in person, but I looked at those pieces and I was like, it's too damn good. He can't keep getting away with it. Where's the fingers?
Jesus.
So yeah, like, ultimately for me, I actually really like the Blanche art, and I think that it is, in my opinion, more a byproduct of the AI has been training off of works like this. The same way that, like, sometimes I see something that very clearly is like the AI's ripoff of, like, you know, an Alex Ross piece or something like that, right?
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't diminish the Alex Ross stuff, and I don't think that the Mark Poole stuff is diminished. It's just that I think we're more sensitive to it because AI keeps stealing it. The fuckers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, I did get I obtained one of my grails. Dreamcast copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with the thing not cut out on the manual, so it's 100% complete.
Wow.
Yeah, those are not easy
grail
to find. Yeah.
No.
It was up on eBay for, like, I think I got it when it was up for 4 minutes because it was sub $200, and I'm like, well, and with a buy it now and not a bid.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, click.
Snatchies.
Is it real? Showed up. Yep. Runs great. I was playing it last night. So, in between Balatro runs, I refuse to touch Hades 2 until, like, I can have it on Switch, and I can just take it with me places and only ever play it on Switch.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Mainly because that way I can curtail my Hades 2 playing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, speaking of grails, I need to publicly call you out and say, what's the progress on our playmat?
It needs more progress. I didn't like how it was turning out, so I'm trying to figure out what the next concept would be. Or how we would conceptually do it to make it look good, because it, like, just like I said, just wasn't working.
Okay, because I still need to get a hold of somehow a better copy of that amazing work that was done, because I think I want to set it as my profile picture for a while.
Oh, I can send that to you.
Because I think
I have high-end digitals of that.
Yeah, because I think I owe Iswardi that.
Yeah, and obviously the next time I see you, which will be Minneapolis, I'm pretty sure, because I think that's before Origins. Actually, I know it's before Origins. You get I will give you the physical copy, and then you have the physical copy.
While that's very thoughtful, the number of times I have heard from you, hey, I have stuff for you, and then we're together, and then I leave without stuff, is way too damn high, and it's usually my fault because I just don't get it from you.
It's usually your fault.
It's usually my fault. I take full responsibility and accountability for my actions here. However,
I have been sitting on your stuff for like
I know.
At this
I know.
point.
I'm just saying, like, the number of times that we meet, and the problem is we meet and then we have fun, and I forget to go, hey, where's my stuff? Because I'm focused on the fun.
Yeah, well, I get it, and like I have your artist proof from Miss Wardy. I have your token. I have Star Wars Judge promos. I have
Alpha Clash stuff.
Yeah, I have tons of fucking Alpha Clash stuff. Like I don't even want to go over.
I know, that's why I'm
stuff.
saying, like, and it's because it's my fault. It's because every time we meet, I'm like, hey, and then
like,
I
I
leave.
have an uncut sheet.
I'm so looking forward to Minneapolis, by the way.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. But yeah, I just have all this stuff, and I'm just like, why do I have so much? I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna give Darick like a third of this, and now my office is just full.
Hey,
I guess.
Also, you need to tell me when your store showdowns are, because maybe I'll just come to Iowa and steal yours too, since I'm just traveling around stealing them.
June 2nd, June 29th.
Oh, you're so lucky. I don't know. I'll have to see.
Well, I mean, June 29th would put you back to back Origins, or it would be Minneapolis, Origins, Iowa.
Yeah.
And also you're scared.
Oh, I'm not scared.
I think you're scared.
Scared of who?
I mean, if our Flesh and Blood games have taught you anything, it's that you don't beat me.
That's not true. I have beaten you before.
Have you?
Yes.
But
But also, this isn't Flesh and Blood.
It's also true.
Which is exactly why, like, I'll talk trash to Dagon too. It's not Flesh and Blood. It's Star Wars.
He doesn't play that
I'm in
game.
my element.
Yeah, he's very focused on Alpha Clash as far as working with LSS with Rising Empire to get to work with through the game and the newer sets and stuff like that, and helping with rules and different things like that too. So he's been a lot more invested with that too. But all for the better. I mean, all that makes the game better. And then I think the event at Origins is going to be great. By the way, if anybody's interested, we're casting Origins, the Clash Ground event at Origins for Alpha Clash. So that's your opportunity to come hang out and see us doing something different, which is mostly the same. So let's thank some patrons. What does that sound? How does that sound to you?
Yes, I'll allow it.
Great. First, our associate producers. We have Andy, Sindra, Donnie K, Jacob, Kenny, Larry, and the Salty Sea Cat. Our executive producers on up are Alex, Blazestorm, Valued, member of the Patreon, Dom, Lance, Good Thrust, Matt Tutokes, Poxonus, Trevor, Papa Mike, Philip, Rich, and Sunny. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Patreon, go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Link is in the show notes, blah, 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 blah. There's some number of tiers. Pay money to us, and you get to hang out in After Dark. That's really it. After Dark is the once a month-ish unrecorded hot take, effectively, a version of the show. If you think that our takes are hot on this show, they are not. They are most of the time thought out. If you want the hot takes, those are in After Dark. And I almost feel like we'll see a spike in Patreon subscriptions this month because they may want to hear what we have to say about different things that is not on wax. But I will go ahead and spoil it for you. It won't be any different. If you need to contact us, and really, again, from the part of the show, please utilize these avenues. You can email us at fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can send us a message or tweet at us at fleshpod. You can also just join the Discord. And then my DMs are open on Discord to anybody to share a server with. So if you need to reach out, I'm right there. Darick, where can they find you? Those links are in the show notes, by the way.
Yeah.
The show notes.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Click on the show notes.
Yeah.
And then click on the thing to find me.
That's the one.
Actually, wait. No, scratch that. Click on subscribe or follow or the thumbs up or the rating or whatever it is that praises the algorithm god.
Unless
Then
you're
click-
Sheriff Prism. Then
Yeah.
don't.
Then click on the show notes. Then click on the thing to find me.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
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 Thank you for everybody that made it this far, for getting through this episode. I know it's been a tough one. I want to make sure that we are, if there was ever a week that would have taken us down, it would have been this one, but we're still here. So,
For better or worse, the streak continues.
yep. And we wouldn't be without you guys. The listeners are the lifeblood of the show. They always have been. And we're just here every fucking week to entertain, hopefully inform, and make sure that our community that we have built continues to be one of the safer or more curated, at least, places within Flesh and Blood. And if it's not, we'll deal with it. But thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being wonderful. We do appreciate you all. That being said, episode 130 next week, after some pre-releasing, and as long as nothing goes too awry, we'll also have rules and policy, the head of rules and policy for Flesh and Blood, Josh Scott, on the show. So that'll be a fun one. But if you have any questions, make sure you're dropping in the Discord for Josh. Yeah, we'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.